What is up, people? It's Chris Angel coming at you. It is episode 2 of Marketing for the Rest of Us. So let's talk about marketing. Yes, here's the thing. Marketing comes down to two C's. Yes, two C's. And when I tell them to you, you're going to be like, that is so obvious, or I've heard it before, and that's fine. But when I frame it inside the problem, right? When I frame it inside the current reality of how most people market, you'll actually see why it matters, okay? So here it is. The first C of marketing, that really matters is communication. I mean, look, there are a lot of, and now listen, I know that that's obvious. Yes, communication, of course. Marketing's about communication. That could be in some textbook somewhere. But listen, you've got to dig under the surface of that. Here's what I mean. Marketing comes down to communication. Now, a lot of you are not communicating. You're not even opening your mouth. You're not even turning on your video camera, right? You're not writing anything on your posts. Some of you are resharing stuff, but listen, the first C of marketing is about communication. Communication requires that you go out to the world with something to say. Not that you go out to the world with what somebody else said, but that you communicate to the world. Okay, this is the first C of marketing. First C of marketing is communication. Now let's do the second one and then I'll frame it. The second C is connection, right? Marketing is about connection. It's about connection. Some people think marketing is about selling. Marketing is not about selling. Selling is about selling. Marketing is about connection. Now, if you do it right, if you do marketing right and you create good connection, then guess what? It makes the sale easier. In fact, here's what's crazy. We had a client that goes through our marketing agency where we create videos for clients, and she had somebody watch all 20 plus episodes of her show, reach out to her and say, listen, I saw all your episodes and I have to work with you. It wasn't like can we talk? I'm shopping prices. They came straight into our client's business asking to work with her, because the connection was good. And if the connection is good, it sets up the sale. In fact, sometimes it just makes the sale automatic. But don't confuse marketing with selling. I see this all the time on Facebook. And Facebook is where I play most of the time, right, in terms of social platforms. But I see all sorts of people selling from their posts, okay? And there's, well, listen, maybe it's not subtle. Maybe it's not selling. It's very subtle, like, I don't say passive aggressive selling. It is like very roundabout, awkward, like you're trying to sell it, but you're trying not to look like you're selling it. And so it just smells weird, right? So here's the thing with connection. And I see this a lot in real estate, but regardless of your industry, like here's what it looks like, right? When you're like, in fact, I have a real estate group on Facebook called Real Estate Farming Principles. And what's weird is I'll see mortgage people come in and be like, hey, we have really great rates. Okay, guys, that's selling, right? Or agents will come in and say like, and they're not even thinking about where these people are in the United States, but they're like, hey, I just took this listing. And they're saying it to a bunch of agents from all over the US. Guys, that's selling. Now, I don't know what industry you're in, but marketing is about connection. It's about relationship. It's interesting because if you look at behavior, I think our behavior as a consumer has changed. Before we ever talk to somebody, we're doing all sorts of research on you. We're watching your videos. We're reading your blog posts. We're getting a sense of, do I like you? Do I feel a connection with you? That's what we're doing. Like I said, this one person for our client, this one person reached out to her saying, we've watched all 20 of your videos, meaning, right, her episodes are anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes long, and they watched all 20. Isn't that interesting? By the way, in the face of everyone who says, I can't do I heard videos are supposed to be 2 minutes long. Nobody's going to watch a 20-minute video. Bullshit. Evidently, they will. Evidently, they do. And if you're playing the game called I have to do 1 or 2 minute videos, you're missing the point of connection. Listen, you want to know where 1 to 2 minute videos fit in the bigger scheme of things? That's just eye candy. That's just teaser material. That's seduction. Those 1 to 2 minute videos are all about giving you a hook to be like, hey, check out this shiny thing. And then if you like what I have to say in that 1 to 2 minutes, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a good strategy. But I'm saying if your entire marketing strategy you think is built on 1 to 2 minute videos, you're missing the point. 1 to 2 minute videos are the front door to the relationship. In marketing, you can have 1 to 2 minute videos, but the point isn't to have an entire library of 1 to 2 minute videos. The 1 to 2 minute video is just to find you, to capture your attention, to say, hey, I have something to say to the world. Did you like what I had to say? Great, go watch 20 minutes more. Because that's where the connection is made. Connection is made over time, over content, right? That resonates between you and me. If I like what you have to say about something, that creates the connection. And so some of you really need to start thinking about this. And as much as I'm saying this to you, I'm saying it to myself. Okay. So don't think like I have it all figured out and I've mastered it. But what I am sharing with you is what I've noticed as a consumer and what I've seen and what I've come to believe as a marketer is that people want connection. People want connection, right? And so, thanks, Andrea. Yes. Andrea, sorry, I just got that. Yes. So look, here's the deal, right? People want connection. And some of you, as well as me, need to continue to reevaluate the kind of content that you're putting out. Does your content actually create connection? Now, this is the fun part. We can actually start to unpack what creates connection, right? In a world of over-information, what do you think creates connection with another human? You could just put it in the comments. Some of you are watching right now, right? What creates connection? Write it in the comments. What do you think, in a world of over-information, what do you think creates connection with people on social platforms? I mean, that's primarily where marketing is going to happen, right? I mean, you could do direct mail, I suppose. You could do phone calls, I suppose. But marketing from a social platform is going to be highly efficient. So put in the comments, what do you think creates connection? Go ahead, right? What creates connection in this age of over-information? Good. Andre says stories that are relatable. Yes. Okay, good. And on that, what makes it relatable? What is the relatable part? Why is the story relatable? And you guys, the rest of you can chime in on this too, right? Don't let Andrea do all the heavy lifting. Yes. So Andre says, me being vulnerable. Right. Why is vulnerability, gang, such a source of connection? Because in this day and age, everybody is trying to front, puff, perfect. Everybody's trying to put out their glam face. Everybody's looking at everybody else's social profile thinking they have such a great life. My life sucks. I can't possibly say something that's perfect enough like everybody else does. And we're all sitting here watching each other in our glam photos and our filtered stuff, right? And what pierces through all that is when somebody actually steps forward and takes their mask off and shows up as a real human being. And when you show up as a real human being, it gives me permission to show up as a real human being. And then I say to myself, damn, like the courage it took for you to be vulnerable. Wow, I'm listening. You have my attention. You've created connection with me. To Mike Green's point in the comments, right? Authenticity, like that's authenticity. And in the age of over-information, in a tribal economy, if you go back to episode 1, right? In the tribal economy, authenticity is what creates connection because we're tired of, listen, give me hearts, likes, or amens in the comment, whatever, but aren't we tired of everything being so perfect? Aren't we hungry for what is actually real? Don't we want somebody just to come out to the world and say like, look, I don't have it figured out. I have learned some things. Here's what I think. What do you think? Instead of all of these gurus coming from like having all the answers. Or even not the gurus, but just the rest of us, right? Marketing for the rest of us, trying to figure out this marketing game and thinking what we're supposed to do in marketing is sound perfect. Guys, your authority Your credibility does not come from how many mountains you've climbed. It doesn't come from how smart you are. It comes from your transparency. Just let that sink in for a minute. Your authority and your credibility comes from your transparency. Now, that's not always fair, right? Because some people in this world have more notches in their belt than you. They have more life experience than you. They have more hours in the business than you. They're better than you. And yet, if you were just to come out and be transparent, you would win the business, not them. Why? Because transparency creates connection, not knowledge. Knowledge, right, doesn't create connection. Transparency does. That's how we're wired as humans. And so, like why I called this whole show Marketing for the Rest of Us is because I wasn't willing to try to play to the algorithms. I'm tired of chasing algorithms. I'm tired of the big, ginormous to-do list of things that everybody says I'm supposed to do in marketing. And my hunch was, and is, my hunch has been for years, and I'm getting even more passionate about it now. My hunch is that that's not actually what marketing is or requires. Facebook says they want you to post 5 to 7 times a day because they built an entire app and platform and an algorithm around you being addicted to their platform. Of course they say post 7 times a day. Of course they rigged their algorithm for you to post 7 times a day. And the ones who are the active users posting 7 times a day, of course they give them more juice. But I'm not willing to play that game. Are you? I'm not going to go learn Snapchat. I might hire somebody down the road who understands Snapchat, but I'm not going to go learn Snapchat. I'm not going to do it. So what tool do I have in my toolbox to compete with all the other people who know more than me, who had more experience than me, who are willing to chase algorithms and play the games of Facebook and everybody else's game? What is my advantage against all of that? Because I'm not willing to play that way. What's my advantage? My advantage is I'm going to be transparent. And in my transparency, my marketing will have more connection than your marketing. That's just it, because everybody else is not being transparent right now, right? Everybody's trying to look perfect right now. Everybody's trying to sound really smart right now. But when you're transparent, when you're the first one to throw yourself under the bus because you don't have it figured out, people start to, it's a pattern interrupt. People go, whoa, I didn't expect that. My news feed is filled with everybody saying they have the answers and you just like threw yourself under the bus. That's worth watching, if for no other reason than entertainment. Like, let's just see this person crash and burn. But then the more that you start to share, the more, and I mean, okay, so let's just talk about that. Like, you can't just throw yourself under the bus one time and hope that creates a connection. You've got to be consistent. You got to have to keep showing up because it's a relationship. It's not connection one time, it's connection over time. And so for you to throw yourself under the bus over and over again, while sharing the revelation that life is giving you with others in order to serve them, to help them, people start to go, damn, like you're for real. You are for real. You are the realest thing in my newsfeed. You are the most transparent thing in my newsfeed. And then somehow I stumbled onto you, but now every time you show up in my newsfeed, I listen or I like or I comment, and then I just start to think. I don't know how many videos in this takes, right? 5 videos, 10 videos, I don't know. But I start to think, I feel like I should talk to you. I feel like I want to know you. I feel like we would be friends. And you've, in a very weird and strange way, in a digital age, in a digital platform, you've created a safe place for people to open up, to be human, to be real. And that is where the connection happens, right? Because the way you communicate, which is the first C, creates the connection. How you communicate creates the connection. And marketing can be boiled down into those two things. Right? Think of a Venn diagram, right? Where you've got 2 circles that overlap, right? Communication and connection. And where those 2 things happen, you have the magic of marketing. That is where the magic of marketing happens. How you communicate with transparency creates connection, and that is the magic of marketing. So what I want to know from you moving forward, let's wrap this episode up. Here's what there is to do about this, right? What there is to do is to begin to flex the muscle of transparency. Okay, if the thought of transparency, sharing something transparent, throwing yourself under the bus and being human scares you, I would start with, right, and what you want is some courage. You want to build up some courage. Any of Brene Brown's work is amazing, right? B-R-E-N-E, Brene Brown. She wrote books like Daring Greatly. It's a lot of her work is around the power of vulnerability, right? When you're able to embrace the human condition, your human condition. Andre, you do this. Andre, your work in Gestalt coaching, right? Your work in helping people get free from the stories that imprison them. When people are able to get free from those painful stories that imprison them and just embrace their humanity and drop into that we are all humans and nobody has it figured out, right? Nobody is better than you watching this. We all put our pants on the same way. And you have valid ideas and I have valid ideas. But it is in the way you communicate through transparency that creates the connection. And this is the future of marketing. This is marketing for the rest of us. If you don't want to have to play the games of the social apps that are businesses designed to hook you into using their platforms and playing their games, if you don't want to play their games, but you do need to grow your business and you do need to market, then this is marketing for the rest of us. You have to, listen, I love social platforms for the amount of reach it gives us. There's great reach in social platforms like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn, and all those things are amazing. And I'm not willing to play their games. Which leaves us with, like I said, authenticity, transparency. That is how you win if you're not willing to play everybody else's game. That is your advantage. And if you can have the courage to explore your own vulnerability. Listen, I'm telling you in the beginning, it feels scary. It feels like a risk. It does. Because you're so wired, we're so conditioned and trained to think that as marketers, we're supposed to look like we have it all figured out. And that nobody would buy from somebody who doesn't have it figured out. And that's not true. That's what we all think, but it's actually not true. It's actually not how we're wired as humans. How we're actually wired as humans is for compassion and grace. And when somebody else shares something vulnerable, we find compassion. Not only do we find compassion for them, but it actually causes us to look inward at our own stuff. We're like, wow, I can't believe they shared that. Like, I have that, but I would never share that. And all of a sudden now we're engaged in a conversation about something real. And this is guys, this is my mission, I think, on this planet. This is what I'm here for. There is a new way to play marketing that actually serves the way we're wired as humans. And that isn't the game of all these apps and businesses that want you to stay connected and hooked on their platforms. You don't have to, you can use the tool. You can use Facebook, you can use YouTube, you can use Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram and all the things you want to use. You can use them, but don't feel enslaved to their rules. The rules of humanity trump the rules of technology. And the rule of humanity is transparency wins. Transparency wins. So after you read some Brene Brown books or some Brene Brown quotes or anything else about being vulnerable and building up the courage to share vulnerably, then here's what there is to do. If you want to market in this day and age and you don't want to play the games of these apps, right, and social platforms, then what there is to do is to begin to share. That's it. You have to begin to share. And what I'm going to tell you is you have a specific message. There's only one you, right? There's over 550,000 podcasts in the world. What? 550,000 podcasts. And many of you, after hearing that number, would say, wow, that's just a lot of noise. If I go create a podcast, I'm just adding to the noise. How is anybody going to listen to my podcast? How's anybody going to find my podcast? And now you're stuck in the old thinking about what you think marketing is. Don't confuse the tool of a podcast or Facebook Live with your message. Just because there's 550,000 podcasts doesn't mean that the world doesn't need to hear from you. The world needs to hear from you. Your tribe, more specifically, needs to hear from you. They want to hear from you. And you might say the same thing as somebody else. Listen to this. Listen. You might say the same thing as somebody else, but the way you deliver it with your transparency and your authenticity and your intonation and the way that life specifically taught it to you, when you share it, I actually like it. And I don't like it when the other person says it, but when you say it, I do like it. Guys, do you think I'm the only person that talks about authentic marketing? I don't think so. I mean, it's not a lot of people talking about authentic marketing. Although it's interesting, authenticity as a word has soared in the last couple years. But I'm not the only one that talks about authentic marketing. But there are certain people who connect with the way that I talk about authentic marketing. And you will have that too. You have something that life has taught you. And you have a difference to make and a message to share. And you need to keep sharing it. And sometimes the best way to share it is to throw yourself into the bus in a place from vulnerability and transparency. This, gang, this is marketing for the rest of us. And it comes down to these two C's, and now I'm going to let you go, right? It comes down to communication and connection. And the place to start is you just got to start communicating in a way that connects. Like that's the assignment. That's it, gang. That's what there is to do. So thanks for hanging out with me. Like I said yesterday in episode 1, this is a daily show. This is a daily show. So keep coming back. I'll be here every day. I don't have a specific time. So you either have to watch a replay or you can actually, I believe, go to finding ways to get reminders of when I go live. But right, you just have to, like, on this one up in the, I think the 3 dots on the top, probably say like, get reminder when Chris goes live. And hang out, right? At some point, I may even put this on podcast directories. That's the dream in my mind. But right now, you get it first on Facebook Live. Here you go. All right, gang, listen, let's go make a difference, huh? Let's go make a difference. Oh, Andrea, you want to be in the video? Okay, hang on, let's see. Let's try this out, Andrea. Let's do it. I love it. Interaction. Are we connecting? Come on. Andrea, get in here. Get in this room. Let's see. It says it's adding you. Let's try this in episode 2. Let's see what happens. Adding. Maybe you didn't mean to do that. I don't know. So like I said, every day we're talking about marketing for the rest of us. When I asked my project manager today, hey, I hadn't explained this show to her yet. I just said I had it. And I said, do you know what this means? Oh,
seriously, Chris, that's not what I meant to do. I meant notification that you were going live. So the minute you said that, I was like, oh crap, I got no makeup on. My hair looks
Hey, you're living transparency now. You're in.
Right?
Hey, listen, let me ask you, because I know that you do a lot of this important work with transparency and the work you do, right? Through Withers Whisper, right?
Yeah.
And your horse coaching business, what you do with Gestalt coaching and horses to help people kind of like shed those old stories. Like, just since you jumped on here with me, like, why don't you just really quickly like tell what is that work that you do? Because I think that's an important step for people to get to this place of transparency in marketing.
Absolutely. So as a Gestaltist, we help people heal their unfinished business that is keeping them from having the things that they want, and a lot of things that you talked about, right? The being vulnerable, the transparency, the monkey minds, the chatter in our head that keeps us from having the things that we want, that keeps us from going live. Like I just said,
right.
My hair, no makeup, that craziness, like, that stops you from having the things you want because you don't think you have it all together, that you're a fraud, the fake it till you make it, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And your background's law, like you're an attorney. Like, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, that's, if I think of any industry where people are trying to front and puff and come off as strong as possible, like, I would think that's an industry that's pretty famous for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely having it all together. Because if you don't, your client pays the price, right?
You can't show weakness. I mean, that would be showing your hand, I would think. But I would be curious to see, like, it's interesting if an attorney, but here's the thing, if an attorney, I actually want that, I think I want that tough exterior if an attorney's representing me. But if an attorney's marketing to me, if an attorney is actually marketing to me, and in my newsfeed, there's an attorney who's being transparent, authentic, safe, deep, right? Like I get their humanity. All of a sudden, you've completely, in my mind, redefined the industry of law, because I do not relate to attorneys as people that are vulnerable and transparent.
No, that's definitely not what comes across. And it's different when you're able to show that vulnerability to your client because they really trust you.
Right. That's right. They really trust you. There's a connection. And when that connection happens, like now I just think that's so important, especially in an attorney-client relationship, like to have that type of trust. How many shows have I seen, attorney shows, where they like the client didn't tell them everything? Like, what? How did you not tell me that piece? Right?
Oh, yes, that happens a lot.
Does it really? Well, okay, so I didn't know. I just thought maybe that was Hollywood, but that proves my point. Like, we're so afraid to be seen. We're so afraid to tell people who we really are and what we're really up to. And this actually, as humans, it actually, and business humans, right? It actually shows up. And if Andre, if you want to jump off, it's totally fine if you want to. But it's
I
good
don't
to see you.
know how. I didn't know how I got on here in the first place.
Well, then you can just hang out with me. But you know, if you're a human who's in business and you're trying to market, first of all, as humans, we have our stuff, we have our old patterns and our old stories, and we're afraid to be seen. And so now, as a business person, congratulations, you now have the job of being seen on purpose. You have the job of promoting yourself. And because we're afraid to be seen, what we're left with is the only tools we're left with to be seen is tools that come from fronting and perfection and trying to puff about who we are and how everything is supposed to be, because we're not willing to access that part of us that's scared to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure you see this in your coaching, in your Gestalt coaching stuff.
Yes.
But guys, do you see how you will not have access to the transparency? You won't have access to any other strategy than puffing and fronting and trying to look perfect, which doesn't connect. You don't have access to anything else if you're not willing to be vulnerable. And you will be left with only having to market from that place that people can't hear you from that place, because we see it all. We're just tired of it. We're tired of it. We're tired of it. So that's all I have for you guys. Andre, I don't know how to kick you out. Let me see. Can I kick you out? I'm kicking you out.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good night.
That was awesome. There you go. There we go. All right, gang. That was fun. Hey, listen, if any of you ever jump on here and watch the lives, then you can always request to jump in, and that would be fun. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, who knows what could happen. Guys, my heart is for you to feel free in your business, right? Like if you are in business, you are a brave soul. I know this about business people. We are brave souls. We've bet it all on the farm. We have bet it all on our dream and our vision. And you've come this far in your life, in your business. You've come this far. And in order for you to take it to the next level, you're going to have to start to market from a place of transparency and vulnerability, because the market is going to demand it. If it's not already, it's going to demand it. We're tired of spam. We're tired of perfection. And what earns my attention is you being a real human, you being transparent and authentic. So you've come this far as an entrepreneur. It's time to level up and take it to the next place. And the way that you do that in your marketing to be heard is through communication and connection. The way that you communicate needs to create a connection. Okay, those are the 2 C's of marketing. All right, gang, we'll catch you tomorrow for episode 3 of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Marketing for the Rest of Us. If you liked this, feel free to share. Feel free to comment. Watch the replay. Leave me comments there. I'll come back and high five you in there, and we'll see you tomorrow. Adios, gang.